Welcome back, everybody, to Running the Rift's coverage of the NACL qualifiers. We are in the top 8 bracket coming at you with game number 2 between CCG Esports and Winthrop University. Winthrop off the back of a crushing win in game number 1, moving over to the red side. My name is Gordo. I'm rejoined by Miliana as we are getting underway for game number 2.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the broadcast, to the YouTube video, or however you're watching this. And we're going straight into draft for this second game. Winthrop able to take game 1 off of CCG. And now, second game going to be starting. We're going to see that Akali ban on the side of Winthrop, which I think is really interesting because Fulcon is known for his Akali. It is a champion. He's able to pilot, and he does enjoy playing. So we see some Target bans at him, and on the side of CCG, we see a lot of bans directed at Sword in this mid lane as well.
Yeah, this is the kind of game where for Falcon, I'm starting to think about maybe getting to see the Vladimir. It's not the best pick right now, but it is a signature choice for him. And when you got your backs up against the wall, against a team that's higher seeded, against a team that's got so much pedigree behind it, you want to start defaulting to the comfort. I think that's what I expect to see out of CCG. The Callista ban going to be the last one, that directed over at Red. Let's see what CCG wants to prioritize here. It was a Lucian first pick last game out of Winthrop. They don't need to first pick it now, even if they want it. They're going to take the Maokai. I like to see that.
Yeah, I do like this pick. It's a really powerful flex to jungle and support, and just a really powerful pick overall. However, we still see a lot of these OPs left up. The Maokai, the Varus, the Karma, which we almost always have seen banned out in the past, are both up for the grabs now. And Winthrop are fancying themselves that Varus, and I'm wondering, will they lock it in? And after that, will they fancy themselves that Karma as well?
Oh yeah, the Karma's up as well. That's pretty nutty. That champion's still real good, even after the last round of nerfs. Melio sneaking through those picks and bans as well, was banned out in round 1 last time. Winthrop gonna snag it for themselves. They can't pair it up with the Lucian. The Lucian is fearless banned away, but still plenty of other powerful options to take alongside that one. If Elios stands out in my mind, but do you want to take that blind while Lucian's available to the other team? We'll have to wait and see. They're going to take themselves a Rel instead. Not going to be a flex pick as the Melio's already there. So that's going to be for Wakao in the jungle.
Yeah, Varus, a really strong pick that has been losing priority recently, but I still think he is so strong. He can go lethality, he can go on hit, he gets so much priority in lane phase, and he scales so well with either the lethality or the on hit build. Such a flexible and powerful champion. And I wonder, do CCG Esports fancy themselves that pick? But it looks like not. I've actually been talking about the Smolder pick with some teams, and I've been talking about what a good flex this team is. I think it's good mid and good bot. It scales like crazy. It is so strong, and it doesn't die in the mid lane at all because it has so much self-heal with that flat with his E. So I really am interested in seeing, where this mortal goes, if it's going to go mid or bot, and how long they're going to hold this double flex with their Maokai Smolder.
Yeah, Smolder coming on through here. Gonna get that Karma locked in as well. The question is, will it be for Flacon? Will it be for Red? It's that champion.
A triple flex.
It is. It's a big flex. Triple's a strong word. Oh, the Karma's a triple flex. Yes, that I agree with.
No, I mean, there's 3 flex champs because Smolder can go mid to bot, Karma can go top, mid, or support, and Maokai can go jungle support. So Winthrop have no idea where CCG are putting their champs now. It is definitely a really hard comp for them to draft into, and looks like they're going to go with the safe pick, that Varus I've been talking about this whole time. Such a strong pick in lane, so flexible about which build he can go, and such powerful scaling. This champ has not been nerfed during this patch, during this season, I believe, and he is still such a strong pick.
He's still plenty good. I completely agree with that one, and that's going to be a solid bot lane duo for Mobility and Shookies to be able to pilot coming into this second half of the draft. Still wide open in that top lane department. You gotta believe they're gonna want to give Denethor last pick in the top lane. They're just going to try to pinch out some of the more comfort Crimson champions. First one off the board going to be that Fiora. Wonder if we get to see the Riven ban as well. I know Crimson loves to dabble in some Riven as well. They just want to make sure that he's not going to have access to perhaps some of the more pop-off potential champions. And it looks like CCG are going to be doing much the same. They're going to take off Denethor's Jax.
Yeah, and one pick that I am still thinking about that is still up for both teams to take is that Rumble pick for the top lane. And I wonder, will Denethor or Crimson fancy themselves that Rumble, a champion that gets so much priority for lane? And it has managed to evade the bans. We can see 4 top laners banned out in the second phase of bans. But Rumble still available, and will someone fancy themselves that pick? But
Yeah. Still,
oh,
there's that Nico going to get locked in by Sword, and there's that potential hover on the Vladimir. Is that a comfortable matchup for Flacon is going to be the question.
I
Flipping
don't
through
think
a
so.
variety of different picks. Yeah, it's going to be tough into the Nico. I mean,
I
this
don't like the Syndra pick here. I think CCG already are really heavy on the AP, and I don't know about that.
well, locked on in. This should cement. Doesn't actually cement anything other than that it's going to be Smolder bot. So it is going to be Red piloting that Smolder. Now,
It
do they
does
want to
seem
take?
like it.
Yeah. Now, do they want to take a support? Do they want to take a top laner? They could technically
Probably.
take a jungler too. The
Well, they should take a top, and they're just
yeah.
gonna blind Aatrox.
All right, that makes sense. So they're going to give Vaken the Maokai. They're going to pilot that Aatrox up in the top lane, and that does give counterpick over to Winthrop. This is an old school Aatrox counter, but it is one that's gotten some compensation buffs lately. It's the Camille, one that Denethor has been willing to pilot. Will he lock it on in here? This guy has been one of the big standout players in the entire qualifiers, one of the best players outside of the NACL, and he will be taking this counter pick Camille in game number 2. This is going to be a spicy one.
Yeah, and Denethor, arguably the best top laner in this entire tournament, is now piloting this Camille pick into the blind Aatrox, and I am really interested in seeing how this matchup goes. I do feel like CCG have drafted a bit heavy on the AP side. I think that if Sword builds some Merc Treads in this lane, he is literally unkillable and ungankable. No one can do anything about him until way later on in the game. And obviously, we have been talking about the Nico bug. I believe she is disabled in both NACL and LCS recently because her clone just kind of TPs around. So we're gonna have to see how that goes because I really don't know. But overall, I do prefer Winthrop's draft this time, I think, because they do have a lot of really strong picks. Milio works really well into that Maokai. However, CCG has that X factor in Red, one of the best players on their team, piloting that Smolder, which we have seen completely turn around and 1v9 some games where his team was at an insane deficit.
Absolutely. And yeah, this is a tough decision for me, right? Because you got to make the call between new champion on one team, bugged champion on the other team. I do think you got to favor the bug champion here just a little bit. The Nico's been so powerful anyway. The addition of just that little bit of uncertainty that the clone brings to the table definitely going to be notable here. And I just love this Camille as the counter pick into the Aatrox, right? It's kind of fallen out of popularity, especially with the terrain changes that Camille certainly feels. But as a counterpart to those terrain changes, they have given her just some more straight up stats, right? And Camille was always a powerful champion in those one-on-ones, even if you couldn't necessarily pull off the crazy kind of terrain plays, the kind of hook shot engages. She's just got a lot of damage in the kit off that precision protocol anyways, and that's just going to be even stronger now after those compensation buffs came out across. I think Denethor is in a pretty good position here playing this counter matchup.
Yeah, without a doubt, I am excited to see him pilot it. I haven't watched many of Winthrop's games yet, and it is definitely something that definitely looks good. But on the side of CCG, they have a lot of the traditional OPs, such as the Karma, the Maokai, and I guess the Smolder. And I am really interested in seeing how Red will perform on this Smolder. I think, honestly, in this lane, I don't think Milio is actually that strong of a pick, because I think that this Varus Milio lane is definitely really manageable and survivable by Karma Smolder duo. So I do think the Smolder can have a chance to scale and to get to the late game and perhaps pull off some absolute 1v9 shenanigans.
Yeah, and it's really going to be all about the Smolder, right? You got to wonder how Wakao and Sword are going to try to pair up to try to influence this bottom lane, right? Are they going to be able to get the push in mid to get that Nico into position to set up dives on bottom lane? And how is Red going to look to navigate away from those bottom lanes? Because I don't know if you got to see the VV2 videos on Twitter yet, but there's definitely some interesting stuff in the Smolder kit. You can use flap, flap, flap to kind of fly out of bounds in the bottom lane for a couple of seconds. It's really useful up against dives to be able to buy yourself that extra time. It's kind of like a little stopwatch on a stick there in an ability. And if you're able to use that kind of stuff intelligently and the enemy team isn't playing around it very well because the champion's still so new, that can definitely turn things around in a big way.
Yeah, and I know a lot of players have been spamming this pick in solo queue, but ooh, Red gonna find mobility in this bush. I don't think he wins this. Mobility has Hail of Blades.
Yeah, no, not level 1. The Hail of Blade's definitely going to push mobility way over the edge, even in a straight-up one-on-one. This isn't a matchup that you love on the Smolder. He's going to choose to not recall and just chug a potion. So big
Um,
advantage for mobility early on here as he finds
yeah,
himself with a 2-potion lead.
yeah, mobility definitely has the advantage in the early stages of the game, especially with that Hail of Blades, and the Varus passive is just so strong in the early game. This is what I was saying about Varus earlier as well. The champ scales well, has great push early, and is overall just such a powerful champion.
Yep, going to hope that this Karma will be able to make up some of that difference here. But we'll have to see how exactly effective that is going to end up being, as the race to level 2 always going to be such a big deal in the bottom lane, and just trying to get that harassment out using the Hail of Arrows, using the Hail of Blades. 2 Hails on Mobility's champion right now, and going to be trying their best to strike level 2 first, try to force Red and Trevor back, and so looking like it's going to be pretty close when they hit it, but they do have the stronger level 2, so Red and Trevor have got to back away one way or the other. Trevor trying to turn it back around. Cozy Campfire with the healing, but there's going to be the Mantra Q, and that's going to force the Flash out of mobility. Great trade there, led by Trevor, just knowing that Karma is strong enough to turn around that unfavorable Marksman v Marksman matchup.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying earlier. I feel like Milio is, in a way, he's an Exodia champion because he just has everything. He has Peel, Healing Shield, and the range increase. Oh, never mind.
Woo.
Okay, never mind. Gank does not quite go through. Winthrop are too aware, but I do feel like in some matchups, Milio just kind of feels like a useless in a way. Especially, I feel like in matchups against mage supports or Karma, who's almost kind of a mage support to be honest.
Whoa!
Oh, what just happened?
It looks like Wakao just found his way around there, used the flash, guaranteed the stun, chain CC onto Flacon, takes him down. Flash is blown by both Winthrop members, no chance to flash for Flacon, and that's going to be first blood over to Sword.
Yeah, and I feel like Lilio in this matchup is not as strong or as useful as he is in many other matchups against something with Engage or something that he can really turn around, in my opinion. I feel like he gets kind of outranged by the Karma, and it's just overall not a good experience for him, as I just don't think he's great in this matchup, even though against a lot of other champions he does feel like Exodia, and he does feel like this champ just has everything and so much amp. Here, I feel like Milio is just not the best pick.
It's going to be rough for the laning phase, I would agree. I think it just doesn't bring to these 2v2 fights what Karma brings. I think you'll definitely be feeling it later when it's like cleansing Maokai ultimate from your whole team. Will definitely be valuable there, as Sword is looking to participate in this collapse. That was the clone that Flacon stunned, and that means this is going to be a full health Nico, raining damage onto Vacant. Trevor coming in for the backup of the first kill, going to come over to Sword, and there's the warm hugs, trying to keep Wakao topped off as Sword continues to zone out his lane opponent. Mobility now coming in with the collapse on towards Trevor. Has to be aware and conscious of Red approaching as well, but they will secure the escape for Wakao, and Sword looking to get the job done. Misses the blooming bursts, doesn't care, finishes it off with the red buff.
Yeah, and we can see Flocon just really struggling in this middle lane. Oh, but Red?
Wakao, you're a crazy man, but actually maybe Red's the crazy one as he tries to finish it off. Still standing is Wakao. Cozy Campfire is absolutely busted, and a double kill for Mobility. It all goes wrong for CCG.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Our CCG just overforcing every play right now. I mean, they just went way too deep with Red and Trevor trying to secure the kill on the Rel, who has that aftershock, who has that tanky form where she's standing up without the horse, right? And has that Milio peel and shielding and healing, and they just go way too deep onto it, and Mobility just able to grab all those kills as they are attempting to get Wakao.
Absolutely here, and now so well set up here. 5-2-0, a 2.5K gold lead over to Winthrop University. And yeah, it's just like you said, while Rel is dismounted, you get bonus armor and bonus magic resistance. It's not that much early on, but it's not nothing. And Wakao, with that, plus all the shielding and healing that Chuggies brings to the table, they just cannot finish him off. And it costs them big time. I mean, they bet it all on being able to kill off that jungler, being able to get Red into a favorable position, and now having given up that kill, having given all that gold to mobility, this is going to be lethality. Varus online earlier than he should have been, and Flacone getting collapsed on again. He's got the flash, he will use it, but that's another tool down from the side of CCG.
Yeah, and I feel like with CCG's comp and players, what I would want to do with this team is I would want to say, let's scale, let's play around Red, let's have Red completely 1v9 this game with that Karma to support him a little, get some priority in the bot lane, and just get Red ahead, survive the lane, and win the game from there. However, that is not at all what has happened in this game. CCG have already dropped so many kills to Winthrop that they didn't need to drop, and they find themselves at a 2k gold deficit at just 7 minutes into the game.
Just 7 minutes in, and oh boy, here is going to be another engage from Wakao, focusing in on the bottom lane. We talked about the pressure that was going to be exerted from Winthrop on the bottom side of the map, and Wakao following through on that promise, chunking Red down to half HP. Yeah, they can't finish the kill, but they can make it too dangerous to stick around. It's lethality Varus. He's going to keep throwing out piercing arrows. Chookies is going to keep throwing out mega fire kicks, and it's just going to get too dangerous for Red to hang around too long unless Trevor can do something to buy a ton of space.
Yeah, and Trevor is doing a really good job of that, stepping up behind the minion wave, really confident on this Karma. Just really well played by him, and a great idea. Meanwhile, I think Prod just showed us the stats on that
40.
Smolder. 40 stacks. Remember, he needs 225, I believe, to get that execute.
That's the final upgrade.
Final form. But
yeah,
in the meantime, he's got many more power spikes to hit as his game progresses.
Yeah, something I do like about Smolder's design versus other Wingdings, as I will possibly take a break there. It looks like a fight might be breaking out in bottom lane. Chookies, at least, gonna take a fair chunk. But what I at least like about Smolder's Wingdings is that Smolder gets benefits both at breakpoints, and he gets them for each individual one along the way. So they all bump his damage, even though you do want that 225 threshold to get the last effect and to get into your full power. Each and every one matters along the way. Sword finding a pick in mid. That's a solo kill. Flacone, nowhere to go. Rampage for this Nico.
And the itemization on Nico was something that I discussed before the game started. I said, Nico, if she's smart, can build Merc Treads and absolutely just never die in this lane. And that is exactly what Sword has been doing, but meanwhile, fight couldn't happen in his bot lane.
Wakao walking on down, going to get the knock-up, going to interrupt Flap, and that's going to be another kill to Wakao. Vacant trying to make it even, flashed over the wall there from mobility, and Vacant picks up a double kill, crushing the horse with that Bramble Smash. Will be able to get 2 back. It's only kills into his pocket, though. They did kill Red. They did stop the stacking. That's going to be mission accomplished in that regard, but here comes Sword back into mid lane, just continuing to be that big threat across the map, and it will be some very important gold back here for CCG.
Seems like the Camille counterpick hasn't really been going crazy. Top lane, we haven't really had our camera there in a while. I forgot it existed, to be honest. But
you and Riot Games both.
Yeah, for real. And we can see, oh, it looks like maybe I spoke too soon.
Yeah, look, speak of the devil. He may present himself. Here comes Denethor looking for this one-on-one solo kill, locking down Crimson. Crimson trying to stay back up. If he can land the Darkened Blade 3, it can make a world of a difference. He flashes out of it, though, and he takes it down. Wakao, you do not get your name on that kill. That's a solo kill on the board to Denethor.
I think Crimson was trying to flash backwards to get that Q3 knockup, but he didn't quite go back far enough, and it didn't knock Denethor up on that last Q there. Really unfortunate by Crimson there. I think he had the right idea, almost had that solo kill. I think if he got that CC off, he definitely could have secured that solo kill, but absolute tiny misplay just ends up in Denethor being able to take the kill instead in a really close 1v1.
Yeah, definitely very, very close there. Definitely think that's really playing on the edge there from Denethor. I think that's Crimson's mistake to make, whether or not you land that Q3 with a really well-placed flash. But comes out ahead, flashes away from it, does not get struck by it. And he did have Trickster there for the backup, or Wakao, as he is now known, to guarantee that they would be able to pick that one up.
Yeah.
Sword.
Oh my
Finding
gosh.
Flacone again. Gonna get the knockup. I think this is a dead Flacone. Just one more Blooming Burst. There it goes. Sword is unstoppable. Wakao now going to tank up that Nature's Grasp, going to go down to Vacant for it. Plenty of damage available on the Maokai as he picks up the 3rd kill for his team and the 3rd kill for himself. It is all on Vacant to try to turn this game around.
Yeah, even though Winthrop's bot lane has gotten that gold lead in the early game, I think they're actually getting a lot of pro in this game because of the Karma versus Milio matchup. I think picking Milio here is just kind of bad for the lane state, to be honest, but it is good against Maokai, of course. Maokai Syndra is really strong. But as you can see here, Trevor and Red getting pro on this bot lane, able to get, I think, a couple of plays as well. So Red actually in a really good position gold-wise. He's already got a full item, and we can just see Mobility's completed his item too. So these 280 carries actually really close when it comes to gold, and Red's got a CS lead too. So definitely there's still a lot of hope in this game for CCG. Do not count them out yet. Red down 300 gold only. It's not that bad. I mean, this Nico's fed out of her mind. However, I think Red, if he's able to avoid those pop blossoms, can definitely make something happen on this motor.
Definitely could. He's just a ways away from being able to do it. And you got to keep Sword in mind as well. They are just so accelerated in this game. 5 kills to their name, a solid CS lead to boot. Crimson going all in on the top side, trying to fight up against Denethor with Vacant on the way. Will Denethor be able to navigate his way out of this one? Nice long-range hook shot, not interrupted by the twisting advance, and Denethor might just be able to get out of here. He has to avoid that pull back in from Crimson, and it looks like he will be able to do it. Bramble Smash knocks him further away, and Denethor escapes the gank, and having seen Vacant bot lane, Wakao is all in. Trevor, you cannot be out this far with your jungler showing on the other side. A 10th kill goes over to Winthrop at 12 minutes in.
It is still just a 1.2k gold lead though, not, or 2.2, or 2k, sorry, I'm not doing math right now, but mid lane is kind of a dire situation now, I think, but on the bright side, Sword hasn't gotten too many plates yet. CCG as a whole, actually not that behind yet. They still have hope in this game. They still have that Smolder, that champion scales like insane, and I've seen him absolutely 1v9 the crap out of my solo queue games, let's just say that, so definitely still a lot of hope. I mean, he's already got 84 stacks of this Dragon's Practice at just 13 minutes. I'm not sure how good that is, but I do know that's more than 1/3 of the way to that 225 magic number.
Yeah, it's kind of an exponential growth, right? Like, once you get... It's not even really about how many stacks you get. It's about hitting like that Quick Blades plus Essence Reaver spike where you get it on a lower cooldown and you can start really easily one-shotting minions with it. Then you start getting the stacks at a crazy rate. Oh, there's another Flash Engage. It's another solo kill for Sword. Falcon just can't play the game.
Yeah, this Nico is just going crazy. I don't know how else to put it in. It's like Vakin gonna come in for a gank.
Yeah, keep your eyes on whether Denethor can turn this with the ultimate. Going to knock back it away, gets the shield, not enough. Vakin goes on a rampage, and that is going to be the 4th kill to the squad, 4th kill to the Maokai. It remains all about him as Red takes a big chunk from that piercing arrow.
Yeah, definitely a little unfortunate the way this game's played out. I don't think the Maokai is necessarily the person you want all these skills to be going to, but he is pretty ahead. I mean, he's like 30 CS up on his enemy jungler, so actually not doing too bad on this pick. The problem is just really this Nico. I mean, she usually isn't that much of a high damage mid laner as a champ, but when she's this accelerated, has this many items this early in the game, she will just one-shot people.
For sure, for sure. Working on the next one in the tank right now as we speak, and once she's on that 2 items, it is just going to be so tough to stand up to Sword. And Z-Sword starting to get involved with the map now, has rotated Mobility up towards that mid lane to pick up some farm.
Oh no, Red!
Wakao going to find the engage, but it's just Wakao and Chookies. The damage isn't there. Sword is still clearing waves, so count your lucky stars, Red. You do get to stand strong and tall for at least a little bit longer.
Look at him.
Sword is one of the minions, though, takes a big chunk. And, all right, yeah, Sword's not going to be able to trick him that time. They know something's up.
They knew it was up. Yeah, he's not going to be able to do anything to that bot lane. CCG really aware of the potential consequences there. And,
All right, knocked aside there a little bit as Falcon glancing around, noticing that some of their camps are being stolen. Not in a position to be able to do too much about it, though. Still at no completed items on the Syndra. in a little bit of a nightmare scenario. 16 minutes into a competitive game, not able to complete any items yet, and losing out on both dragons so far, losing out
Wait, what's he doing?
across the board in a variety of mechanisms, and just
Wait,
going to
what
have to
is
try to
he
keep their
building?
towers up as long as they can.
Wait, what item is he building on the Syndra?
I think he is building 2 different ones at the same time right now. I think he is back. Oh, is this Luden's Companion build? I think this is Luden's Companion build. I think it builds out of Hextech now. If so,
Do
I
you have enough ammo
apologize.
for that?
Let's see exactly. Luden's Companion. Yeah, it does build out of the alternator in the chapter. You don't need the extra book for it, but I am assuming that Flacone just recalled without enough gold to complete, without the
Yeah.
combined cost, and just wanted to get an extra book to at least have a little bit more combat power.
I definitely don't think that's the right decision because I think if you make that decision, you gotta make it like right before a team fight, like right before a dragon that you want to contest, or right before something important. So you suspend your gold and you're just like for this fight only, right? Oh, Trevor might be able to kill.
No, them to come in from Sword. Not going to be
Oh,
able to land the knockup. Will be able to force the flash out of Trevor. That will be Pop Blossom down for the foreseeable future, but now looking for a little
oh
collapse here.
no.
That's going to be a nice max range Chains of Corruption landed onto Flacone, but knocked back away by the Scatter of the Weak. Will buy enough time for the Syndra to flash to safety. They can help out with the disengage thanks to that Nature's Grasp, and no engage found there by Winthrop. And as long as you can stall out and avoid going down, that's probably a victory for CCG at this stage.
Yeah, but once again, it is another Infernal Rift, another Infernal Soul, another really strong soul that Winthrop, I mean, CCG just can't afford to give up. I mean, if this game had been like something like a Chemtech Soul, maybe they would have a higher chance to win this game, but looks like CCG actually just going to be able to siege a bit here, but the pressure of this Infernal Dragon once again is just so strong, and they need to really start getting one of the next 2 Drakes.
Absolutely here, starting off in the bottom lane, getting a fair bit of damage there onto Mobility. Or Mobility getting a fair bit of damage out of the turret. Oh, that's not even Mobility, that's Sword. Because I'm getting juked out on the mini-map by the transforming Nico.
I know what you mean.
It happens, you know. It's a very compelling, it's a very convincing disguise, you could say.
Yeah.
Because they will end up picking up their first turret of the game. A couple of turrets did end up going on over to CCG earlier, so they've done a good job of maintaining not too big of a gold deficit thanks to that, of course. Does mean that there's standing gold waiting around for Winthrop to claim as soon as they do get the opportunity to push those turrets. And this is going to be sole point. It doesn't look like CCG feel like they can contest at all. They're probably right, but this does not feel good.
No, it definitely doesn't. And they're having to concede this soul point once again, much like we saw last game. And just like last game, it's going to open up so many options for Winthrop. Oh.
Ooh. We got ourselves a little bit of a game pause here, so have some time. 81 seconds, so perhaps some connection stuff happens.
Yeah. I heard the Wi-Fi at Harvard isn't really good.
It can be tough.
Yeah, I mean, I go to school in Boston too, and sometimes the Wi-Fi is terrible, so it happens.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Can't always rely on being able to stay connected on that university Wi-Fi wherever you're at. So we'll get,
True.
yeah, we'll get a
A lot of
little.
pauses in C-Law.
Well, at least if Winthrop University starts having some issues, then you lose the whole team at once. So then it might be
That's
even tough to
funny.
get the pause to happen. That's a little bit of a disaster scenario.
Wait, what happens in that situation? If they're
Uh,
all playing like together, like physically?
yeah. I think you DM the opposing coach and ask for a pause from their side.
But then like a minute has passed already. What do you do?
Not necessarily a minute. I mean, I think you could try to pull it off real quick.
Oh,
Adam
so
is saying he can pause the game. I don't think that's true.
there's a ref or observer.
Oh,
I
observers
see.
can pause in TR. Very nice.
Yeah, in officials, like officials can pause. That
Okay.
does make sense. That is quite interesting. You would have to pause ASAP. But you would have to pause ASAP. It looks like all of CCG seems to be trying to restart their league. I'm not sure what's going on. I mean,
I
Flowcon
think
just
we're gonna cut all
reconnected.
this out of the VOD, I'm pretty sure. So we're yapping.
Oh yeah, I
Does look
see.
like the unpause has come on through. So 1 second to go. We are back with the action. And that is going to be Dragon number 3 going over to Winthrop University. They are well set up into a winning position here. And CCG, they're just going to have to put themselves something together to be able to fight on back against this massive Nico, who now, by the way, has the Storm Surge completed. We are in full one-shot territory.
Without a doubt, Red on this Smoter that I've talked about so many times, it's got so much potential to carry this game. If Sword goes in and his Pop Blossom gets flashed by multiple people, he's just going to be stuck there with no way out. Right? And if he just doesn't get that off, then it's really easy for CCG to kite it back and use that Karma, Maokai, Syndra, and Smoter to just turn the fight around. And it's definitely possible because all the gold is on that Nico. It is not on anyone else. So definitely a lot of comeback potential for CCG if they play the fights correctly, but Winthrop definitely have the clear path to winning this game.
Absolutely is. Ooh, Trevor, again, going to be spotted out there. Wakao throws himself over the wall with the crash down, not going to find much of anything, and the Baron will spawn. It is the all-seeing Baron, getting those pathways on either side, and making things just a little bit more dangerous for anybody trying to approach up against either this Maokai or this Rel. Ooh, Chains of Corruption connects onto Red, chunks him to half HP. Here comes the Nature's Grasp, tanked on up by the Nico clone.
Wow.
Good heads-up play there from Sword to deny it and being able to land onto any of the members of his team. They are going to exchange blows back and forth across the map. 2 Melios. They're not going to be sure which one is the real one.
I'm not sure if we've seen the Nico bug yet. I got sent a clip of it, and it looked like it happened constantly with Trevor. What happened? How did he get there?
There's going to be the engage. Vacant going to be able to find some damage here. There's going to be the knock-up. Blown by Sword, not landing onto anybody, and Trevor, the only one to go down. He got forced onto the wrong side of the map, and he will drop for it. An attempted TP out here from Flacone. Will they get to him in time? They will not.
Yeah, he is able to secure that bottom tier 1, get some gold for himself, maybe get back into this game. He has had a really rough start so far, but I've seen Flocon come back from these kinds of situations where he gets a bit out lane, he gets a lot really behind in lane, but he's able to keep his head in the game and come back, still pilot his champion and still be useful with his CC, his damage, and just pick up some kills and start just contributing to the game once again. So I am really looking forward to see how he's going to pilot the rest of this game. I've seen him come back from situations like this, and he is able to do it.
Absolutely. Just going to have to bring out the clutch factor here. Going to really need Bacon to use that advantage that they've built up for themselves as well. They are ahead in items compared to Wakao. They can bring in a little bit of extra damage using that Leandries that they've built for themselves. And you can get onto the back line if you can find a way to deal with Sword, find a way to deny the value that that Pop Blossom can have, which, I mean, they pretty much did in that last fight, right? They got it blown on basically nobody, were able to disengage, but not able to really snap the trap shut and find a winning fight off the back of it. If they're able to do that in the future, though, that could be their pathway back into the game. So much of this gold lead is contained on the Nico. If you're able to shut her down, you do get about 1,000 gold right off the bat, and that does put you very close, within spitting distance of the actual gold lead. Just going to be easier said than done, though, when Sword has been playing so cleanly this series.
Without a doubt, but here comes an ultimate for that wave clear, and I don't know, Dragon Soul spawning in like under a minute 20 now is just such a pressure point for CCG. Their jungle is just not theirs anymore. It's so hard for them to get control. Oh, that is, oh no.
The engage back and pulled so far away, and there's a Pop Blossom onto 3. They will not be denying Sword's value. This fight is Vakin doing his best to the back line. Will get taken down in the 1 versus 4. And meanwhile, it is Sword cleaning up the other side of the fight. A 2 for 0 in favor of Winthrop, and that just might be a turret for them in mid lane.
Yeah, with all this pressure, the Dragon might just be theirs. It is kind of a terror for CCG right now. However, Vakin and Red spawning in 20 seconds means that they can still make it to this Dragon fight in time. They still have a chance, even though their ultimates are down. It's really suspicious, but I think that they have to fight this. It's their only way back into the game. They're only a 4K gold down. Not the worst, to be honest, at 23 minutes or so. I mean, obviously it sucks that Red doesn't have his second item yet, but I mean, I think this is the best fight you can get. Nico and Syndra have the same amount of completion items. I mean, Maokai is really ahead, and both top laners or one of the top laners has 2, and one of them has almost the second one. So CCG, this might be their only chance.
Yeah. The other thing you got to remember, though, is Sword has got access to that arm guard. Remember, that's the new stopwatch. That gives you access to that stasis. So already, with the important part of the Zhonya's built on up, just a little short on the combined stats. And that can be so important here when he's coming down in with a Pop Blossom, already trying to flank around in the back line, marked by Vakin. We'll get comboed there, and Vakin just shrugs that off like it's nothing. Remember, this guy is anything but behind, as here comes the Nature's Grasp going to land across the team, only going to catch out of Wakao. Crimson going to land the first half of the Darkened Blade. Here's Denethor on the back line, though, diving in onto Red with that precision protocol, tears the little dragon apart before they can get the big one. There's going to be 4 members already down. Vakin finally going to be able to smite it away to deny the soul. That did go over to CCG, I'm pretty sure, but they lose their whole team in the process. A 5-for-0 ace for Winthrop, and they're making a beeline to the Baron.
I really like the attempt by CCG there. However, they just don't have enough peel for Red on this Smolder. I really would have liked to seen maybe a scatter onto the ulting Nico to push her away. I've seen that happen before. It looks so frustrating. And it's definitely a way, an interaction that could have gotten CCG back into the game. But now the goal lead has doubled for the side of Winthrop after that team fight. And now they've gotten that Baron. Even though they don't have the soul, it feels like Winthrop, once again, absolute same thing as last game. CCG got the last drag, forced to fight that last dragon in bad conditions, and just unable to win the fight means that Winthrop gets a Baron and then gets so much off of that Baron.
Yeah, and as we just pointed out there, Dragon Practice stacks paltry compared to what you would like to have at this point. You need to have that 225. You need to be getting the max value out of your Smolder, and they just have not been able to stack it up fast enough. I think the biggest hit to that has been that you do not get to be in these kind of poke wars. You do not get to be in these kind of skirmishes where you get an opportunity to at least stack up a little bit on towards enemy champions as well. Been really tough. They haven't really gotten into those positions. They've been on the back foot for so long, and 0-4-2 Red is just not being able to bring value to these fights.
Yeah, I mean, he's also just getting consistently dove by Winthrop's really strong dive comp with the Nico, with the Rel, and with that Camille, just all jumping on to this poor little dragon on every team fight. Even though Smoder has a bit of self-heal with that flap, he's just unable to get out of the situation because there's too many people looking at him and trying to kill him.
This champion has the worst ability names. Can I just say it's they're all onomatopoeia or they're way too long. Let's get some stuff that's a little bit faster to pronounce, little buddy. But either way, doesn't mean he deserves this. Nobody deserves this. Just completely unable to play the game. And yeah, gonna really have to hope that they hit those 225 stacks before the next big battle. And that somehow is enough for them to be able to turn around the game, as Denethor had an excellent flank angle there to just take him out of the fight instantly. Even if he had the 225 stacks, I'm not sure it would have mattered.
Yeah, I don't think so either. He's just getting absolutely blown up by the divers on Winthrop every single fight. He needs to watch out for the Nico, for the Camille, and for the Rel. It is just so difficult.
Little poke being exchanged back and forth here to see what they're going to be able to find. This inner turret will fall with ease, just no ability to be able to push off these Winthrop University members. Chu not going to be able to find anybody, not even going to be able to clear out the waves. And the Siege minion helping out big time as well, while Sword continues to push in mid.
Wow, that is quite a bit of damage onto Denethor somehow, but unfortunately, Milio probably just going to fill it back up with those cozy campfires. And on top of that, CCG just struggling in their base right now. The next dragon is that ticking time bomb of the game. It is up in under 2 minutes, and it doesn't seem like CCG will be able to do anything to contest that.
For sure. Skills exchanged back and forth. Doing a good job of at least being able to clear out these waves, but mid-turret might be where the fight takes place. Double stun over the wall, and they are torn apart on CCG. Mobility is dominating. Reds on the back line. Pop Blossom onto the remaining members, and another 5-for-0 ace are in Winthrop University's near future. They have no more minions to be able to take down this turret, so I don't think the game ends quite yet. Actually, they have huge death timers, and they have a wave in bot. They might just be able to close it on out right here, bringing in those remaining minions and taking a dominant 2-0 over CCG. Trevor's up in 8, Vakin's up in 10. I just don't think they're going to be able to mount it here. The collegiate squad of Winthrop University, first seed in Swiss, will lock top 4.
Yeah, CCG unable to get that respawn in time to do anything to prevent Winthrop from ending that game immediately. And it's just a crushing victory for the side of Winthrop. They absolutely dominated these last 2 games, able to just play every team fight out so well and just win every game through the mid game and close it out so cleanly with those Baron power plays. Absolutely insanely played by Winthrop. They are definitely a favorite to win this tournament and a favorite to promote into the NACL this year.
Yeah, and showing a lot of cleanliness there from the Eagles, same way as they did in their series over Aporia. Do not let that kind of close, shaky Swiss stage convince you otherwise. This team is absolutely monstrous, and they are coming for a qualifier title. Started right here, right and now, as they are able to move themselves into still 0 losses, by the way, since the Swiss stage, and now are going to move into top 4.
Yeah, definitely excited to see these guys play it out in the next bracket. I believe we have a collegiate tournament coming up. It is ISU versus CCG in the other quarterfinal, and the winner of that is gonna face Winthrop. So really interesting collegiate
Yeah,
main
ISU
tournament
will
in
miss,
colors
but
here. Yeah.
yes. Yeah,
And then the
ISU will
winner of
miss.
that will face Winthrop. So it's gonna be another collegiate match next week.
Exciting stuff, as we will bid farewell to CCG. Good performance in the first open qualifier, hoping
Definitely.
to put up a deeper run next time and see if they can make that top 4 for promotion.